Hi, I'm Deniz from Modular Mind, and we're building a lead hunter today. What I want is this. I want Maya to know about my business, what I do, what I offer, and what kind of potential customers I'm after. And we will define some ICP, an ideal customer profile. And I want Maya to go ahead and monitor X and Reddit to find some potential customers for me autonomously. So I went ahead and connected my X account. This will allow Maya to search for posts, get my timeline or do some keyword searches. And I also enabled the Reddit data source, which also allowed Maya to search for posts in subreddits, which comes with its own infrastructure, so you don't have to worry about scraping Reddit. And I will go ahead and create a skill also about my business. So this skill will serve Maya as a rule book or guideline to know about what type of people I'm after and which constitutes a high intent situation, basically. Now I will go with court as always. So we have this very simple landing page. So just to keep things simple, I will just copy the content instead of just telling Maya to go ahead and visit. And I will paste it here and I'll say, I want you to create, let's say, a guideline for our ideal customer profile, which will be used to identify potential customers on social media from their activity. So I will go ahead and create a structured, formatted document so we can use it in the future, which we'll be making use of with our workflow for lead hunting. So in a few seconds, Maya came up with a skill. It has a main file and some supporting files named ICP guide and lead search query patterns. I was actually also going to ask it to generate some, search keywords, but it already did that inside the skill. So this will be quite useful. And it came up with a definition of what the ICP is for court. It define some segments about type of users that we might want to look into. So that's good. Then I will come back to Maya and continue talking to it. So I will just simply say, I want you to build a workflow to hunt for leads on X and Reddit. I want you to identify potential leads who might be explicitly sharing the need for a solution like court, or discuss their pains, or about a competitor maybe. So I told it to create a workflow because that's how you make things repeatable and consistent. So every time it runs, I want it to make the same analysis and come up with some consistent results instead of trying to make something up every time randomly. All right, it started doing something. So I see it first comes up with some definition for the research targets, which I'll take a look into. Then it'll do the searches separately on X and Reddit, which makes sense. And at the end, it'll synthesize everything and generate a report, basically. So it explains what it did in the chat as well. It asks for target cities and regions, which makes sense because court is not available everywhere. But I wanted to do this. I want you to focus on US, which is I don't want to specify any city or anything. So I will submit, which will replace this placeholder here automatically, so it's easier to do it in chat. I see in the first step it tries to come up with some structured list to prepare for what to search for, really. And then it does a search for Reddit, and it came up with some keywords, and it tries to come up with some scoring and share some details about what it found. Probably does very similar things for X too. and then at the end, it will prepare, bring everything together and prepare the report. I would say I want this to run every week because, searching for tennis players is not really that much of a hard topic to discuss every single day. I think every week is pretty sufficient. And I also want you to send me an email at the end of the report. And I want you to send the report as an email to hello@courtsports.com. I can also go ahead and add that information to the prompt myself. I just want Maya to handle it for me, really. And yes, I forgot to connect a Gmail account for Maya to be able to send an email to me. I will just go ahead and do that right now. All right, I connected this email account. And then as I asked it to write every week, it's already prepared a trigger set up for me. So it says, let's run it on every Monday, 8 a.m. So I'll just go ahead and deploy that. All right, now it is set to run every Monday, 8 a.m. Bring back its findings and send an email with a structured PDF for me to take an action. To test it out, I will go ahead and run it myself now. This is for managing the running the workflow. And we'll see the results in a few minutes. All right, it is finished in 6 minutes and 51 seconds, and Maya explains what it did at each step and what it found. And I see that there are high intent leads. It's apparently identified 21 of them, and there are warm leads 34, and it covers certain cities. And we can see the details of the run here. It made plenty of searches on X, and as you can see at each step, it found again plenty of posts to cover and went through everything in under 7 minutes, really. For Reddit as well, I see it did certain subreddit searches as well as some location-based subreddits, along with content related, like for tennis in general, of course. And it analyzed everything and generated the reports. And then at the last step, as they expected, it sent the email, and I will actually go ahead and take a look at my email and see that, yes, that's there, and it says it wrote down the result like it did in this chat. So it also attached the PDF for me to take a look, and yeah, the same PDF is here. So it started with high intent X leads and warm ones, and then continues with high intent Reddit leads and again warm ones. One thing I realize is, the table looks good, but I see that it didn't really include the links to posts, or posts on X or Reddit, which I would love to have because I would like to just click and go there and write some responses, for example. But we can always go back and tell that to Maya. So I can click on edit workflow and say sharing the links to the posts is really important because that's how I will take action. Get in contacts, write a response, etc. So make sure they are included in the final report for me to be able to find them again. Then Maya will go ahead and update the workflow. I could go ahead and do that myself here through manually adding sections to flow to prompts as well. But I just wanted to go ahead and tell Maya to do it for me. So that's how easy it is to go ahead and tell Maya to create a lead hunter workflow, really, and one that is immediately available for you to use without micromanaging too much, but also one that can be improved. I could also try to come up with some more creative ways, like ask Maya to take notes on Notion maybe, so we can go back and check what we did with the previous leads and how they turned out. And it can go ahead and try to improve the workflow every single time. Maybe go and check that strategy document to take notes and keep improving itself. So yeah, that's so let's go ahead and, by the way, say this once. I could just go ahead and say redeploy with those changes. So that's how we can work with Maya to come up with some very strong workflows through simple instructions. So let me know how this sounds like and what you would like to see next in the comments. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.